It's a pleasant welcome to another edition, rather this week's edition of the Good Morning Show on Star Television. We broadcasting live from our Media One Center, 3 Member Street, Brookfields in Freeton on Channel 21. My name is Abdul Rahman Kamara. Our inspirational quote for today is from Ralph Dugan, who says, "The great secret of success is to go through life like a man who never got used to." Top stories in the program. President Julius Maada Bio has on Thursday, September 12, 2019, launched the National Action Plan for Health Security, the Universal Health Coverage Steering Committee, and the National Antimicrobial Resistance Strategy at the Beauty Conference Hall in Freeton. The National Action Plan is part of effort by the Ministry of Health and Sanitation in preparedness for any possible outbreak. The Director of Finance, Abasi Elias Thomas, including other directors of Rokel Commercial Bank, has described the transformation at the Rokel Commercial Bank, marking the 20 years since it transitioned from Barclays to Rokel Commercial Bank in 1999 as a collective support and resilience of staff whose tireless effort has led the drive to the growth and development of the bank. With me in the studio is Maurice Conte, the Director of Risk Management, Charles Sese, Director of Strategy, George Frisby Williams, the Director of Media Units at Rokel Commercial Bank. They are here with me this morning to look at Rokel at 20 since the bank transition from Barclays Bank to Rokel Commercial Bank. Good to have you, sirs, in the studio.
Yeah, good morning to you.
Great.
Good morning to you. Good morning to the television
to
line.
you and to viewers.
Remember, the Star Good Morning Show is proudly sponsored by Rokel Commercial Bank.
SimCorp allow old and young to make deposit and withdraw cash from their account at any time and anywhere. With Rokel Commercial Bank SimCorp, you can send and receive money at any place and any time. Rokel Commercial Bank don't make life better for we all.
Most welcome back from that commercial break. Rokel Commercial Bank, as often says, is the bank of choice. You can be part of the program. Send your comments or view to the number 077 600 324. We are live on YouTube and Facebook. President Julius Maada Bio has on Thursday, September 12, 2019, launched the National Action Plan for Health Security, the Universal Health Coverage Steering Committee, and the National Antimicrobial Resistance Strategy at the Beauty Conference Hall in Freeton. The National Action Plan is part of effort by the Ministry of Health and Sanitation in preparedness for any possible outbreak. Here is a comprehensive report.
The Minister of Health and Sanitation, Dr. Alpha Tijan Wuri, while making his statement, highlighted environmental degradation, citing the landslide that occurred in 2017 that killed almost 1,000 people as one key reason why the ministry is collaborating with other stakeholders in addressing some of the accompanying challenges. He assured that the Ministry of Health and Sanitation is well prepared to deal with any disease outbreak with effective surveillance mechanism put in place to gauge potential disease outbreak.
What we want to do is to position ourselves to ensure that we stand in readiness for whatever may come. As religious people, you might think of the prayers we had from the Sheikh and the Reverend Sister as well. You would know that we'll continue to pray for these interventions not to come to us. However, we must stand ready to ensure that we protect our people.
Giving the keynote address and the launch of the National Action Plan for Health Security, His Excellency the President, retired Brigadier Julius Maada Bio, said with the launch of the National Action Plan, the government will now be able to understand better disease pattern and how to respond to any possible outbreak.
Articulating a clear national development plan, establishing a treasury single account, mobilizing domestic revenue, undertaking business-friendly reforms to attract investment, clamping down on corruption, investing in human capital development, and traveling the world over to tell the world our story. A story of resilience, a story of great possibilities, up to its full promise and potential. This is our new Sierra Leone. So let me thank every Sierra Leonean for continuing to be patient and faithful to my leadership. God is good to our country. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is kind to this country. My persistent call and your collective prayers for national cohesion and peace, with a singular focus on developing the only land that we love and own, Sierra Leone is being answered across this nation.
For Star TV News in Freetown, I am Adma Samai reporting.
You're welcome back from that commercial break. Local Commercial Bank will on September 17th, 2019 marks 20 years since its transition from former Barclays Bank to Local Commercial Bank Sierra Leone Limited. With me in the studio, I have officials from the bank who are here with me to talk to me on the journey of their transformative growth since the bank transitioned from Barclays to RC Bank. Maurice Conte is the Director of Risk Management, Charles Sese is the Director of Strategy, and George Spilsbury Williams is the Director Media Unit. I will start with you, Mr. Williams. Tell me the journey about the bank as far back as you can. I guess you were there since the inception.
The inception of Rokel, you mean?
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Rokel came into being on the 17th of September 1999, and this was after Barclays Bank pulled out of the country and left their shares in trust to the government of Sierra Leone. Barclays used to be the majority shareholder with 60% of the shares, and when they pulled out for various reasons, I mean, the name was changed to Rokel Commercial Bank, and as is usually the case with change, there were mixed feelings. There was a lot of apprehension from the public, the general public. It was like this bank is now in the hands of the indigenous people and anything can happen. It will, I mean, so the best thing for us to do is to run to the bank and get all our money out. But then there was a strategy in place because it was just basically a change of name and you know, change of ownership in as far as the shareholders were concerned, the majority shareholders. But then, I mean, all the management staff were in place, and there were strategies put in place by the outgoing Barclays to ensure that there would be a very smooth transition. And so, come the Monday morning of the 17th, there was a long queue out there, you know, stretching as far from Shaka Stevens Street to the Cotton Tree. And people were there to take out their money. But then we had all the senior managers and the banking hall to reassure people that, I mean, it's business as usual. And anybody and everybody who requested their funds was given immediately as fast they went through the normal banking transactions. And so Monday we started off with that kind of thing. By Wednesday, I mean, the crowds had ebbed out because confidence was restored that it's indeed business as usual. And by Thursday and Friday, whatever queues you saw out there were the same people who had withdrawn their funds coming in to redeposit, because they now knew that, I mean, the bank was safe and intact. And so we started off on that strong footing. We began to grow again because by then, after the results, the effects of the war, we had contracted to just about 2 branches. We started to grow again and expanded to virtually what we used to be. I mean, the most widely networked bank in the country. But then there was a short spell in which we had our, challenges. But then happy to say that roundabout close of 2016, mid 2017, the bank has, sprung up to new life. And we are moving now, and of course everybody identifies us not only as RC Bank, but the bank of choice.
Mr. Morrison Conte, the outturn of the bank has changed tremendously from the point where people's perception was that the bank is not doing well. It has gotten to a point where it has a rather blurred image. And the confidence of the people was no longer bestowed on the bank. Since the down days of doubts and worries of that particular bank, what is the secrets and energy behind this fairy tale story where there is an immense growth and development within the bank?
Well, thank you very much. It has not been an easy ride. As you are aware, in 2013, 2014, the bank encountered tremendous problems in terms of loans and overdraft going bad in huge numbers. And as per regulation, when that happens, you have to make provision for those loans. And in making provision, it means you have to take from your profit and provide for those loans before writing them off and maybe pursuing them in the court of law or whatever the regulation demands. And in the case of Rokel, when that happened, because this loan had gone bad and we are forced to write them off, we had no alternative but to, since the profit we had then was not adequate to cover the exposure, we had to dip into the capital. And when that happens, the capital disappeared and Banco Sierra Leone intervened. Government also came on board, thus making government the majority shareholder, because they had to pump in more capital into the bank to keep it working. Because there is a regulation that you have to keep a particular amount, for example, as your share capital, before they allow you to do business. So when this happened with Rokel, the capital went negative.
Is that what you refer to as a recapitalization?
Exactly, that was exactly what happened. So the government, with the timely intervention of the government of Sierra Leone, being the majority shareholder, the bank continued to do business. And when you have no capital, you are not allowed to do business. It is the responsibility of the central bank, as per regulation, for the central bank to take over and put mechanisms in place to ensure that you come back to footing, or maybe sell shares or whatever. So government of the government of Sierra Leone pumped in more money, and we are allowed to continue to do business. So what they did then, they formed a management team that we fondly refer to as the triumvirate. That is, you have the Bank of Sierra Leone on the one side, you have the Ministry of Finance, and you have the NCP being the prudential shareholder of government. They put a team in place to ensure that they run the bank, putting stringent mechanisms in place to ensure that what happened in the past will not happen again. Like, for example, for you to give a loan, you have to go through due process and the like. Because what they discovered then, after that period, was that most of the loans were not given judiciously. Some were given without following due process, without following procedures also, and some were not collateralized. And as long as the loan is not collateralized, in order to recover, some people will say, well, in fact, there is no fallback, so if I don't pay, nobody will take me to court. And to take a loan from a bank is not something that is a criminal. It's criminal. It's something that they take as civil. So if you don't have collateral, and you take the matter to court, what will the court do? Even when they find the man guilty, they cannot jail him for that also.
Mr. Morrison, the indication now is that you are the director of risk at the Rokel Commercial Bank. Are you taking all of those factors pretty much seriously?
Well, yeah, that is something that we take very, very seriously. If you look at our audit reports, maybe from our external auditors or from the central bank, you have seen that a lot of sanity has now prevailed, that we are following laid down rules and procedures, so that to ensure that we secure and safeguard the asset. the funds we play with, the funds we give out at loans and as loans and advances are owned by either the shareholders or the depositors. So it is our responsibility as bankers to ensure that that one is protected. And to protect it, you have to follow legal rules and regulations, because there are policies and procedures that you have to follow in order to take out a single cent and give it as a loan or an advance. So we are following that. That is why you can now see even the NPL ratio, NPL meaning non-performing loan ratio. You know, there is a central bank regulation for all the banks which operates in this jurisdiction, which says that your NPL, the tolerance limit for your NPL ratio is 10%. So anything above that is being questioned by Bank of Sierra Leone. And you can see that our NPL ratio year in, year out has been coming down tremendously because of the efforts we are putting in place, because of the mechanisms we are putting in place. So that is why now you can see a lot of people are now happy to bank with Rokel. There was a time in this country where you talk about Rokel, nobody will look at you. But because of the thing, because of the resilience of the team, the determination of the team that we have, because it's a collective effort, no one person can run the show. So it's all the responsibility of all the staff that we have on board. That is why you are seeing the figures are improving to the extent that everybody is happy now to bank with Rokel.
Okay. Granted that there has been turbulence experience with the bank, and as we speak, the bank has repositioned itself to a pretty much admirable stance. According to the Managing Director of Rokel Commercial Bank, in the 2018 annual report, an audited financial statement, the bank netted a staggering 66 billion profit after tax, representing a 30% increase in 2017, which gives a 52 billion profit after tax. And in 2014 to 2016, the bank profit margin were considerably lesser, with the bank able to make a little bit over 1 billion profit. This might be attributed to the question of leadership and management, and you are the director of strategy. Something might have been put in place that would have ensured this rapid success of the bank to where it is. How did you meander away to ensure that you find yourself to a very elevated position of the bank?
Thank you very much, Abdulrahman. I have to first and foremost state that when we joined the bank in 2015, I came in as the Director of Finance and Administration, and our terms of reference was simple and clear. Terms of reference given to us by the Central Bank, the National Commission for Privatization, which is the NCP, and the Ministry of Finance and Economic Development. It was simple. You have to lead the management of the bank, and as well as undertake your day-to-day operations. So it was difficult. The first thing we did was there was an assessment and a report. We identified problems and issues within the bank, structural problems in terms of governance, problems in terms of motivation of staff. Again, the first thing we started to do was we looked at the cost structure of the bank. We looked at the capital position of the bank, and we looked at the loans portfolio of the bank. Having identified those three, it was simple. We said the cost was too high. We had to reduce the cost, take steps so that where cost savings can be made, were made. We looked at the capital position of the bank. We said, okay, the capital was negative. How do we restore our capital position? So we came up with a capital restoration plan, which was for the period 2015 to 2019, submitted to the Central Bank for approval. Finally, we looked at the loans portfolio and said, within this loans portfolio, which ones can be restructured? Which of those loans can we restructure, and how can we go about it? We were lucky because by the time we get to 2015, from a negative position of loss, we started making profit, because by then in 2015, I remember it was about 1.5 billion profit after tax. Little though it may be, we moved from negative profit and loss after tax of about 36 billion in 2014 to profit after tax of 1.5 billion. That was 2014. come 2015, the profit reduced slightly because of the stringent cost controls, and because contracts were negotiated in USD, and the movement, the exchange rate from of the dollar to the leons also accounted for some of those losses. We ended up with a profit after tax of 1.3 billion. But because it was a 4-year plan, the capital was restored in 2017, and in 2018 we moved forward. In December 2018, I became the director of strategy. Maybe, for want of a better word, having done the turnaround, having meander, to borrow your word, meander the strategy of the bank, I then became the director of strategy. In December 2018, when I became the director of strategy, my first task was to develop a corporate strategy for the bank. So again, I am glad at this particular point in time to say that we do now have a corporate strategy for the bank for the period 2019 to 2023, which will look at the short to medium term. What do you do? What are the resources? What resources do we have within the bank? What are the corporate objectives? What are we trying to achieve? Where are we heading? So now we have a blueprint. It is not cast in stone, it is due for review, but that blueprint is being reviewed on a quarterly basis to see how do we align our actual performance to what is actually on that strategic plan.
Mr. Charles, in your honest conviction, when you sit back and look at Rokel Commercial Bank, how will you say the bank has really impacted society, especially during resurgence?
Well, if you think about the contribution of the bank to the government of the people, the government and people of Sierra Leone, Rokel is owned by 65% owned by the people of Sierra Leone and 35% by individuals and institutions. Individuals and institutions who happen to also be in Sierra Leone. These individuals do at times get dividends from Rokel. Rokel Commercial Bank creates employment. Rokel Commercial Bank pays the taxes, in terms taxes to the government. Rokel Commercial Bank contributes to the, in terms of NASIT contribution, on behalf of employees into the NASIT pension fund. So the impact is huge, as we see, having a staff of roughly about 500 staff, and not only direct but indirectly all the companies, the institutions, the businesses that do rely on Rokel Commercial Bank in terms of doing business. So you can see that the contribution that Rokel makes to the economic development of Sierra Leone is massive and very, very important.
Okay. Let's go over to something very important before I come over to Mr. Spilsbury Williams. The Director of Strategy at Rokel Commercial Bank, Charles Sese, and the Director of Legal Affairs, Margaret Davies, including other directors, has described the transformation at Rokel Commercial Bank, marking 20 years since it transitioned from Barclays to Rokel Commercial Bank in 1999, as a collective support and resilience of staff whose tireless effort has led the drive to the growth and development of this bank. They spoke to me in this interview on the journey of a transition and accomplishment at RCB.
I'm Charles Sese, Director of Strategy in Rokel Commercial. It is true that we only operate for 100 years. They're in operation for 100 years, from 1919, 17 September 1919 to 1999, and they operate as Barclays. And we all know, under Barclays, very strong brand in our salon. But however, in 1999, we transitioned to Rokel Commercial Bank. We changed to become Rokel Commercial Bank. And since then, on the 17th of September this year, will become 20 years as Rokel. However, remember, 100 years as bank, as one of the best banks, if not the best bank. Get ways and means of how we're able to do. Yes, we make changes now, we make changes over here now. We'll see how. Yes, it was difficult for financial services, banks, them in general, but for we, it was not that easy, and there are ways which we are happy for doing things. Remember, say, as Salon Bank, we look at the staff them will get, how we go train the staff them so they will develop product in the bank, and will make the services of which the bank they require will become acceptable to the customer then. We look at the products then and say, these them products are they're enough? Then we realize, say, well, we need for come up with new products then like not only current account and savings account, but also like KK accounts, swag accounts, mighty accounts. And recently we come up with a thing called SIM card, where you can use electronically on your phone. If you get, whether you get internet or not, you're able for doing banking transactions. Also, not forget, say, we're going to get Visa card. A couple of years ago, we launched a Visa card to make them easier. But as we go, try to go into areas them where the bank they may free for government. So we don't survive, and so we get for head going forward. One is a situation wherein you were able for bank with hotel anytime, anywhere, any place. As long as you get as a loan, you get access to phone, you get access to the internet. You're supposed to bank 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning. You do banking transactions, you make transfer. You want to reach that side, you want to reach that side yet. What I can assure you, say for now, you can even use SimCopo and pay your supplier and pay customer there. For them, money then picking, you can transfer, open an account for your picking, and then make payments to your picking account. So instead safe, we go to school and say, Mr. Safe I can account to, Mr. Safe I can use them. So you pay them.
Me na Margaret A.L. Davis. Me na the company secretary leader advisor of the commercial bank. As you know, we don't come a long way from the recapitalization to where we are today. We don't, we brand, you know, with the new administration, the new managing director, and the setting up of the board, then we don't come from where we've been there before. Now we're in a position wherein it is still okay everywhere in the country.
It's visible.
It is. So we just see that as an achievement, and we know say we're not going to do it by ourselves. Now because of the customers that make the day we start doing so today, we don't achieve so much, and you see all over the place because we get awards and accolades from so many people within and outside the jurisdiction. And I can tell you, say, for now, the bank is unstable, and going forward, we don't put strategies in place for take the bank to another level, because we strive to be the best bank in this country. With regards to the 20th anniversary, we are so excited to celebrate 20 years of existence, well as Rokel Commercial Bank, and then 100 years from the inception of the bank. We getting in Barclays Bank. We are so excited, and we get so many activities lined up for this celebration, starting from the 17th of this month on to the 22nd of September, wherein we get a series of activities ranging from parade, mosque Thanksgiving, church Thanksgiving, where we will see shareholders, we will see board members.
Basically, those are the views of some directors of the bank. Marking it 20 years, exactly on the 17th of September 2019. Mr. Morrison, as Director of Risk, how do you expect to facilitate the access to finance to Sierra Leoneans, taking into consideration the credit worthiness of potential lenders of the bank?
Yeah, thank you very much. As you are aware, there was a time during the turbulence while we are prevented from giving out loans and overdraft to customers or so. But once that period was over, we started to reach out to a whole number of people so that they can have access to finance as the case may be. But having said that, we have to be mindful that we have a credit policy indicating all the type of loans and advances products that we have for our respective customers as the case may be. So much to the extent that we can cater for even low salary earners as long as you are gainfully employed, and your employers are ready to do our undertaking. Because we have to be mindful of the fact that the monies we gave out are shareholders' money. They are depositors' money. So we have to put mechanisms in place to ensure that when we give out loans and advances, they are recovered. If they are not recovered, then it becomes a problem again. So we have been reaching out to all aspects of society, including corporate customers, including those who are doing individual businesses, including salary earners, as the case may be. So the spectrum of our loans and advances is so big that it caters for each and every individual as long as you are doing something in order to get money back. Because when we give out these loans and advances, we expect you to pay back. We also have to be mindful of the fact that Rokel is an indigenous bank. So that is why if you look at even our outreach, we have been going all over the place, as far as Bond also. If you go to the island of Bond now, there are people there, irrespective of the rough terrain, because it's an island, you have to use boats, we go there also. People are accessing loans, even in Bond. So it's a wide range of products and services that we have packaged to ensure that each and every individual, as long as you are gainfully employed, as long as you are doing some amount of business, as long as we are sure that when we give you a loan or an overdraft, you'll be able to pay back. So
I have a very good reason putting this question to you, Mr. Conte, on the relationship between manager and the leadership and managers. How has the current management reached this particular point in time in the bank has been able to harness your synergy? That is the MD coming down to the directors, how you correlate your efforts to ensure that you stand tall in the midst of the turbulence, in the midst of all of those factors that seem to be the accompanying challenges over time. How has it been like?
You see, for a start, it was actually not easy, because when changes come in, you have a lot of people who will resist change or so. But because of discussions, because of being focused, we have seen that we have been able, there have been a smooth ride, a smooth marriage between the leadership and right down to the key staff. So you see that everybody is energized, everybody wants to do something, everybody wants to be seen doing something. Now if you go to the bank now and say, I want you to go to Bond today, everybody will be willing to go because of what they have seen happening. They know that, when you are in our organization, if you perform, you'll be rewarded, either financially or through promotion also. You can clearly see that a lot of people are now happy to work because they are fully motivated. There is now commitment. There is focus for each and every person to do what is expected of him or her. So it has not been easy, but at least we are there. Okay. And now you can see, there are a whole lot of people who want to move from where they are now to come to Rokel. If your HR will tell you, if you look at the applications we get every day, tons and tons of applications, because everybody has seen now. It's no hidden secret now that Rokel is the first to reckon with.
Thank you very much, Mr. Morris and Conte. Let me welcome the Human Resource Director, Madam Veronica Williams. As you rightly heard from Mr. Conte, does a bank have that absorptive capacity to actually get every wishes or to work in that particular bank? Do you have that absorptive capacity? Because the numerous applications you have per day, it is the wish of every Sierra to say now, I want to work in a local commercial bank because of the glory and all the rest of it.
Yes, we have the capacity, but as of now, we only accept applications when there is a vacancy. We just can't allow people just like that to flood in because we want to help. But we're really doing very well because we have, as of now, we have internship programs going on. We have students from the various universities, IPAM, the college, the other universities. They do come in, and we have a whole lot of them now deployed around the various branches of the bank. And also we have the NYSC, the Youth Service Commission, we do have some of them in-house now that are going through working experience in the bank.
I may sound a little bit redundant asking you the question. What is your statutory mandate in the bank in terms of your HR services?
The statutory mandate.
Yes. Your responsibility over responsibility.
Well, as an HR, one of my main functions is to train and develop staff. And that has been ongoing. And as of now, we have this MD with this energy, and he brought in lots of new innovations that we have not been experiencing in the past. For instance, overseas training. It has been going way across all levels of staff in the bank, and that is ongoing. Every year we have lots and lots of people who go abroad to study. At least for the past 2 years now, I think we've had staff,
including the director seated here.
Yes, they do go on seminars, conferences across the various countries. I think at least almost 10 countries. Yes.
And is this opportunity cascaded to the branches of country?
Up country, across.
Okay.
Yes, we've got down to the clerical level. We have staff. Recently, we had about 6 people from Nigeria across all levels: clerical, supervisory, management. So that's been ongoing.
Okay. Mr. Williams, over time we've seen where Rokel Commercial Bank, excuse me, has been a champion of financial awareness and financial inclusion. What is the secret behind these fuss about this bank driving this initiative? I get it. That should have been the idea or the initiative of the Bank of Sierra Leone, but you seem to be championing it.
It has been the idea and innovation of the central bank. Notwithstanding, probably you might want to consider a few things. The current MD of our bank, is you could call him an offspring of the central bank. So he would also have that developmental, insight or mindset. And when this issue of financial inclusion came on, it was an opportunity also to contribute to national development insofar as, financial issues are concerned. We did not want to see the central bank having the major or sole responsibility of passing this message across. We saw the need for the commercial banks to come on board and spread the message of financial inclusion, which would also be to the benefit of everybody in the country. Because simply put, if you have more people becoming aware of the benefits of having as much as possible of our funds in the formal sector, then any normal reasonable person would jump on board, because then accessing funds and accessing the advantages or the benefits would become something that is more easily achievable. Because when a lot more of the funds are in the formal sector, it means borrowing funds will become cheaper. Opportunities for access to such funds, as long as you're in the formal sector, will also become more and more available. And then more people will have opportunities to access funds to develop, to kickstart businesses or productive activity, and it will be national benefits all around.
What has been your strategy over time since you're heading the media unit and the director of communication at the bank, in terms of the public visibility of this particular bank? What has been your onward engagement?
Well, it has been...
You guys are all over.
Diversified, I would say.
So what's the secret?
It is, I say, an injection of ideas and zeal and motivation, as you know, my colleagues have said. When we got to this point where we saw the need to move, now that we had started on a profit trajectory, should we say, I mean, it meant we were freer to go out, I mean, and be recognized, be identified as people who can do it. These are the people doing it. And we needed for people to know that Rokel Bank is alive and kicking. So on that note, I mean, when it came to things like financial inclusion, we embraced it. And we had to reach out and let people know that we are capable of supporting the central bank. You look at other aspects of corporate social responsibility, we have been out there projecting. We have been out there supporting. And when you talk about the free education, for example, free quality education, you can't leave out the quality. We have supported, I mean, worthy institutions in terms of holding national debate competitions. And these all, I believe, contribute to national development in so many ways. And, you know, as a result, we have been out there and we continue to be out.
Are you of this conviction that the bank has more to offer, or you've reached your pinnacle?
Let me put it this way. When I become convinced that the bank has nothing more to offer, I will talk to my HR and ask for my benefits.
That's great.
But now we are very far from such a position.
That's great. The Director of Strategy, I'm looking at another critical intervention in the bank that has annual more accomplishment. What's the motivation behind the change of the bank's logo and the significance of the new colors?
It was the realization that when you're put in an environment, it is an environment that, especially an environment that keeps changing, an environment that is complex. You have to understand that whatever you do, whatever you deliver, is in line with the environment. I think one of the strategies that what we did was we realized that we cannot then be looking inward or inwardly within the bank. We have to go out and say, financial inclusion by the central bank. How does that benefit the Rokel Commercial Bank? So we developed a strategy and say we needed to go and incorporate that. Yes, when you talk about 84% unbanked population and financial strategy, that is a niche for us. So we developed a strategy to mitigate against that, to take advantage of that opportunity. Opportunity will arise outside the banking environment. Internally, we have the resources. Externally, we're looking and monitoring the environment and say, how do we adjust? Strategy is interesting because we have the HR strategy, we have the PR strategy, we have the risk and control strategy, we have the finance strategy, we have the IT strategy. But how do we align those strategy to the main corporate objective of the bank? So you can see that we're sitting down there in strategy and looking at opportunities that are outside and responding appropriately and robustly. Strategy is not about you get to the pinnacle and you stay there. How? So we have a strategy of getting to the top and a strategy of staying at the top. But I would not give you a lot more. I would not give it away. But I can assure you that it will never be enough. We will never reach that because we're better is possible. Good cannot be enough.
Mr. Morrison, in the midst of the existence of other banks in the country, especially for foreign banks, how do you meander your way, collectively as bank officials, to ensure that they stand the test of time?
Well, But when you look at the competition, you
Do
can
you clamor for more prohibition laws that will allow only the existence of indigenous banks, or rather than opening up the space for more liberalization?
No, I think the space has to be opened. I think we have to give everybody a fair chance. And as you can
So
see,
you're not scared of the
no, we
existence
are
of
not
it?
scared of the competition. We are ready to face the competition headlong.
Even in the midst of their own innovations?
Definitely, that we are
Some
we are
in banking?
we are up to the challenge. As you can see, I recently I just mentioned, Rokel is now a force to reckon with. Even when we know we have some multinational banks that have parent bodies out of this jurisdiction also, and they are heavyweights also, but yet still we are not afraid of the competition. As you can see, we have been spreading all over the place. You go to Bond, we are there. You go to Kabbalah, we are there. We are thinking of new space, so we are not afraid of the competition at all. We are ready for the competition. That is why we are always thinking to bring in new innovative products and services so that we entice our customers. One thing I want to say is that there are a lot of people during the turbulent times who left Rokel, whether because they did not believe in Rokel, they thought their monies were not safe, and these people are coming back now. They are coming back because they have now seen that Rokel is doing well, and their monies are safe, as the case may be. So we are not afraid of the competition at all. We want the space to be expanded so that each and every person can go play their own game and try to win in more customers. So we are not afraid at all.
I'll not let you go without talking as to what the bank's efforts are in terms of recapturing lost customers over the years.
Yeah.
I recall a situation where I accompanied the deputy director of the bank, Emmanuel Bobo, to Moyamba, where they made a reintroduction of the teachers' loan scheme in that part of the country. According to him, it's just a campaign to recapture lost customers over the years. How has that process been going on?
The process has been very, 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 very fruitful. In so much, as I mentioned earlier on, we are catering for each and every person in this country. As long as you have a means of getting income, we are ready to accommodate you. If you go in all the areas that we operate, including Bond, including Kabbalah, teachers are benefiting from loans. As long as the only thing that we have to make sure we do is to follow laid down rules and procedures, because we are being heavily regulated by the central bank. We also have our external auditors also. We also have other players, other stakeholders. So as long as, and we have our credit policy, and when they come to audit or inspect, they have to look at the credit policy to see whether we have deviated from the things that the board has approved. So it has been going on very well. All the areas that we operate, be it in Bond, be it in Moyamba, wherever we go, people have been benefiting. If I know only teachers, you have other sectors are also benefiting.
Okay. Madam Williams, when you do your recruitment process, what type of workers readily comes to mind for them to get themselves enrolled into the bank? Who are you looking out for?
Well, mainly the banking operations. It's like 70% of banking operations is clerical duties. So mainly we look out for school leavers, university graduates. We look out for those because most of the time we'll have vacancies in that area, the clerical area. So most of the time we go out for those because we have a minimum requirement which is at the WASC level or GC level. So we cater from that point upwards.
The bank marking 20 years, September 17. Do you feel any great sense of achievement working for that institution, seeing yourself as family?
Yes. As the bank, we're a family. I've been in the bank for over 20 years because this is celebrating the 100 years of banking operations in the country. Remember, we were transformed from Barclays to yes, so had lots of experience, and as a bank, we spend most of our time in the bank. We go in the morning and then we leave at maybe 6, 7. The official time is 5, but because of the workload, sometimes we spend more time. And we've been working together, and we have supervisors, managers who are friendly. We've been working, we have in all of that. We hardly have problems.
Mr. Williams, I'll come to you to give you the chain of events marking the culmination of this celebration. Charles,
Yes and no.
are the branches up country really profit-making branches?
Well, as Coquel Commercial Bank, I can assure you that yes. The short answer is yes. But also, do not forget that it is not only about profit-making branches. You can have loss leaders. You can have a branch that is very important and strategic to the to the overall objective of the bank. As a whole, I would say yes, they are profit-making. However, yeah, we have to understand in terms of strategy. Well, once you have a strategy in place, then you look for the structure. There's a process. You have the first, you look at your strategy, but once that's finalized, you look at the structure that you need to develop or to deliver on that strategy. But once that structure is identified, you then say, I have a structure in place. What next? You have to look at the systems and say, what systems do I need that will be able to back up that structure to be able to deliver on my strategy? Well, once the system is approved, you then say, what skills do I need to work on those systems? Well, I need IT skills to work on that system, for example. Then you go out and look for the staff. HR comes in. She mentioned training. I believe that in 2017, 2018, we had a training for drivers. A lot of people were asking, well, how can you train drivers? Well, cars change. Vehicles change. If you can train the MD on a refreshers course for about 2 days, why not the drivers? So you can see the strategy is all right from the top. From the top right through the bank. 80-20 is the new vogue, the new word for us. On the 17th, Tuesday 17th, will be 100 years in operation. 20 years Rokel Commercial Bank, and 80 as Barclays. 80-20. It's your bank. It's my bank. It's our bank. We have to deliver on it.
Mr. Williams, take us through the chain of events to the culmination of the day.
A quick reflection within and listening to what my colleague said just now, 80-20, you can apply that to as the strategy we are using for our events. We are making sure that we use as minimum resources to be maximum effective and visible. And so what we are doing is we are going to engage the media, over this for the rest of the month to make sure that, we educate people, we bring people up to speed about what the bank is doing and what the bank is all about. We will have some celebratory activities. We will light up the bank on the eve of the anniversary, which is the 16th. That's Monday, and that will be on the television.
The significance of which
is to show that we are alive, we are shining. The light of God is upon us, and we are destined to light up this nation with our activities and services. On
Reverend Williams.
On the day itself, we will have Thanksgiving in our branches, all across the territory. Of course, God comes first. He has kept the bank a going concern. And we will also have 1 or 2 activities which will be a surprise. But people will see and know that Rokel is very much alive, and we are celebrating not on a sick bed, but we are up and about. We are strong and raring to go even further. We will have a football match on Saturday, this
21st.
Oh yes, on Saturday, but preceding that we will have if the Muslim colleagues going to the mosque to say prayers. I mean, that will be on the 20th, right? Followed by this football match on Saturday at King Tom. And on Sunday, the Christians will be going to the Wesley Methodist Church at 9:30 to...
Is a football match inter-unit arrangement?
No, sorry, it will be between ourselves and our sister bank, Sierra Leone Commercial Bank. Okay, so...
Is Charles going to...
Charles has promised to don the center forward vest, and but again that will be only for a short period of time because it would like to be directing affairs as the strategy person.
Otherwise, I would have encouraged you to have an ambulance in the field.
No, there is provision for that, sir.
So basically, I want to use this forum to extend a warm invitation to all our shareholders and our well-wishers to, join us as we say thanks to God for, 20 years of, grace and favor as Rokel Commercial Bank, and in total, 102 years as a bank of choice in this country.
Okay. Very quick one. I will start with Madam Williams to just give out a message of hope and acceptance of what you guys have been doing in that bank. Quickly.
Yes, I want to extend appreciation to our numerous customers for banking with us and to those who've stayed with us in bad times.
Okay.
And as well, as the MD always say, they are rice and palm oil. So this is an appreciation. We wish you well.
So Williams?
We want to thank our very, very loyal customers, our shareholders, and the nation in general. We want to assure you that Rokel has your best interests at heart, and we know you also value us as the bank of choice in the nation, the People's Bank, the bank that is for the people.
Mr. Morrison Conte.
Yeah, well, it's just a message of assurance to our numerous customers and will-be customers that Rokel Commercial Bank is now on a new trajectory of growth, a trajectory of development. For those of us who have been with us throughout this journey, I encourage you to continue to do more business with us. And for those who have not joined us, we encourage you to join and we'll all celebrate together. Thank you all very much.
Charles Sese.
Thank you, Abdulrahman. As a Director of Strategy, as the Chairman of the 20th Anniversary Celebration Committee, Rokel is your bank. It's my bank. It's our bank. We live Rokel. We breathe Rokel. All we ask of you is to participate, take an active part in the development of your bank, so that at least posterity will not only judge us, posterity will celebrate and be proud of our achievements.
All I ask of you is to peacefully leave this studio and go back to Rokel Commercial Bank and do your work. On this Tuesday, thank you very much. I will start with Madam Veronique Williams, the HR Director, Mr. Spilsbury Williams, George, Reverend, as often called, the Director of Media Unit, Morrison Conte, the Director of Risk at the bank, and the most powerful, Charles Sese, Director of Strategy. He strategizes everything, and also the chairman of this very important arrangement. I'm looking forward to having you in subsequent edition, as we're surely going to have some media engagements around the issue of celebration. Till then, have been the presenter of this program. My name is Abdulrahman Kamara. Have a very wonderful day.